Greetings, wrestling fans! Holla, holla, holla to you all, and welcome back to another video. And today, after singing that first few syllables of the song, I think you guys all know what I'm going to be talking about. It's time for another episode of How I Became a Fan series. Now, if you guys remember a certain review I made, I said I would be talking about this, and so tonight, I'm going to be talking about it, and that is going to be how I became a fan of Kelly. One of my first crushes growing up as a wrestling fan, and one of my first favorite females growing up as well. So let's talk about Kelly and how I became a fan of her. Well, her career started in roughly 2007 during the early beginnings of the relaunching of WCW. She wasn't really wrestling. She did this thing where she would dance naked called the Kelly Express. But she would then later go into a storyline where she was managing former WWE superstar Mike Knox. Do people remember Mike Knox? Do people remember that guy? Many people look at this as Kelly's only time as a heel, but I don't really count this because she wasn't really a heel during this time period. It was more of a storyline where Mike Knox was considered was called the jealous boyfriend of Kelly, and basically she had a thing for CM Punk, and she had a thing for CM Punk during that during that time period. So after ECW just disbanded, after a while she kind of started appearing on Raw and on SmackDown. I kind of remember this, but it was it's kind of a blur to me. Maybe some people may say, oh yeah, I remember this. I, for some reason, remember the time that Kane had a thing for Kelly. It was something I kind of just remembered, that Kelly had an angle with Kane, and Kane had a thing for her, and I remember that one time Kane captured her and trapped her in his little locker room and tried to intimidate her and all that stuff, and Kane wanted to know something about her and all that stuff, and like about other guys that apparently had a thing for her, and I remember she had a bit of a segment with Randy Orton at one point, and I think she even said The Miz had a crush on her at one time, and she protected Randy Orton from Kane at one point. I don't know, it was kind of weird. I remembered her going through this weird storyline. This was kind of when she wasn't really an active wrestler. She was kind of more like a manager. Like, she kind of wrestled during that period, but not very often. I think that was roughly early 2008 when she was on Raw, I think. But she made history by becoming the first female to be drafted in the WWE draft, and that was when she went to SmackDown. And during that time period on SmackDown, she kind of challenged Michelle McCool and Layla for their women's titles at the time, because they were both champions. They were trying to do the whole co-champion thing. I didn't really like that. I thought the whole co-champion thing was kind of lame. But she would also eventually start up a tag team with Tiffany. No, not that Tiffany. Not the Tiffany we see around nowadays. Not that Tiffany. It was a different Tiffany. You may know her as Taryn Terrell in TNA. TNA fans may know her as Taryn Terrell. So, also, Tiffany, or Taryn Terrell, is kind of in the same catalog to me with Kelly. You know, superstars that don't get any kind of recognition. I mean, I get, like, Taryn Terrell's TNA run made fans respect her more because she was more willing to put her body on the line. But when it came to Kelly, for some bizarre reason, no matter how much this woman improved in the ring, fans just never accepted her. she improved a lot. She talked on Chris Van Vliet's podcast saying how much she wanted to actually learn the craft of wrestling and actually wanted to get better in the ring. Like, she wasn't lazy. She wanted to get better. She wanted to improve as a performer and all that. And to me, that should be something that people should respect, right? Like, Kelly wanting to improve her craft in the ring, and she did improve her craft in the ring. She challenged LA Cool for the title a few times, and Kelly would tend to take these little apron, these barricade bumps where like a powerhouse wrestler, like you kind of see Nia Jax doing it sometimes, where like a smaller girl will do a hurricanrana, and then the big girl like grabs them and then spins them around and then smacks them into the barricade. Yeah, Kelly tend to take a lot of those bumps from people like Michelle, sometimes Beth and all that. Like, she tended to take a lot of those brutal barricade bumps and all that stuff. So Kelly was, no matter what people think, I think her selling was really, really good during that time period as well. So she failed multiple attempts to try and win the championship, the women's championship. But eventually the women's championship got unified with the Divas championship, and then eventually became one championship. Which I think to this very day was kind of a silly move, but at the time their women's roster wasn't very big, so I guess I could probably understand why they did it back then. But, yeah, so roughly by 2010, Kelly wasn't doing much. I think she was challenging for people. She was just randomly sometimes having title matches against Maurice, and sometimes the women's championship and all that time period. But Kelly to me, I started really coming as a fan of her by 2011, kind of roughly 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2011 is the time period for me where I really started to become a fan of Kelly, because it was in January. I can't remember what particular day it was, but it was in January. Might have been January, might have been after the Royal Rumble, I can't remember, but I remember one particular episode of SmackDown where Kelly had to team up with Edge. Now, I may have talked about this story a couple of times to a few of my friends and all that, but Kelly teamed up with Edge, and they had to take on LA Cool and Dolph Ziggler in a handicap match. And in that match, Kelly got brutalized. She got destroyed. She got punished. And in one of her interviews with Chris Van Vliet, she talked about how that was the whole story. She wanted to build sympathy for her. She wanted to build a lot of sympathy for her so the crowd can rally behind her and all that stuff. So she basically told Michelle and Layla to beat the hell out of her, which is what she explained in one of the interviews. It was probably one of the older ones. Not one of the newer ones that recently came out, but one of the older ones. She talked about how she wanted to kind of build sympathy for herself and have Michelle and Layla just brutalize her and destroy her in this tag team match, to make it look like that she and Edge have no chance, to make it look like that Edge might have to do it all by himself. Kelly can't beat both Michelle and Layla, because she had to fight both Michelle and Layla, while Edge only had to fight Dolph. And if Kelly got pinned by any of the members of LA Cool, Dolph would become the champion. Yeah, like Michelle or Layla would become world champion if they pinned Kelly. Come on, don't be silly. But yeah, that was the story she wanted to tell. She wanted to get sympathy. She wanted to get the crowd to rally behind her and get sympathy for her, because she had to fight two people while Edge only had to fight one. And it worked, and the story worked out well. The crowd did give her the sympathy. The crowd did rally for her. Michelle and Layla, like, Michelle was a great heel. Michelle McCool was a great heel, no doubt about it. She was one of the best heels during that whole women's era. But yeah, Kelly was able to overcome all the odds and help Edge retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is something that has never been rectified to this very day. Something that has never been rectified to this very day. Sure, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch may have both defended their titles in a mixed tag against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, but Becky Lynch never had to defend Seth's championship. So something along those lines, like not the whole team having to defend someone's title. So Kelly had to defend Edge's title. Not that Edge couldn't defend it himself, but he was a part of the match. It was a 2-on-3 handicap match, and again, the match, they were more using the women in that match. The women were more the focus. And that was the thing about that match that made me really enjoy it so much more, that made me hooked to the match. They didn't put a lot of focus on Edge and Dolph. Sure, Edge and Dolph did some moves, but they were more focusing it on Kelly. They were putting all the focus on Kelly in that match. And I think that's what made the crowd really captivate towards Kelly. Kelly was still quite popular, but this was the point where she got extremely popular and got extremely over. This whole thing with it, this whole mixed tag, was when the crowd really got sold on Kelly during that time period. So after the match, after she successfully retains Edge's belt in the tag match, Edge was very happy. Vicky Guerrero then just fires Kelly immediately afterwards. Yeah, that's definitely something I never really enjoyed, seeing Vicky Guerrero around. She was one of the most irritating things about things back then. She was one of the most irritating things back then. Yeah, Vicky Guerrero was easily hateable, but man, she was very cringe and annoying. But yeah, she was just extremely annoying. But yeah, so after that, Kelly got fired. She did eventually come back at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view to get her hands on Vicky Guerrero. And the rest is history from there. So after that whole stuff wrapped up, she started a storyline with the Bella Twins, where she was on the hunt for the Divas title. If you guys have not seen my Over the Limit pay-per-view yet, where I talked about that particular match, be sure to check that out, because as far as I remember, I don't think Kelly wrestled. I can't remember exactly, but I think Brie was the champion at this point, and I think she defended the title against somebody else at Elimination Chamber, or maybe they weren't even on Elimination Chamber at all. I don't really remember who was all I remember is that Brie was the champion during that time period, and I don't really remember all that much about it. So I know Eve won the title, but I think maybe Brie won it from her on Raw. I can't really remember. But yeah, all I remember is that it was Brie's only title reign. So after the Over the Limit match, eventually on an episode of Raw, there was a Raw called the People's Choice, or People Power's Choice, or whatever. Something very similar to what John Laurinaitis would be all about. The fans voted for Kelly to challenge Brie for the title. Kelly would win and become the Divas champion, and she'd have a 4-month title reign. Now, some people may say, well, 4 months isn't that bad. Well, yes, it is true. 4 months isn't exactly that bad for a title reign. But to me, I feel like they could have done a whole lot more with Kelly's title reign. Like, they only had her feud. They gave her a match with Brie at Money in the Bank because Brie had a rematch clause. And then after that, she feuded with Beth Phoenix. After that, it was just a 3-month feud with Beth Phoenix. Like, they couldn't have her wrestle Melina for the title. They couldn't have her fight Alicia Fox for the title. They couldn't have had her verse maybe Oksana for the title. Or maybe even Maurice, who was kind of winding down her career at this point. They could have given her a variety of opponents. But they didn't really give her a variety of opponents to work with during her reign. And this is to me what hurts championship reigns. If you do not give someone if you don't give your champion a variety of different opponents to work with, that's when the title reign kind of feels diminished. And to me, that's where Kelly Kelly's title reign got hurt the most. Because she worked with Brie once, and then after that, she mainly feuded with the Bella Twins on Raw when her title wasn't on the line. But other than that, on pay-per-view, it was always Beth Phoenix. She beat Beth at SummerSlam. She would beat Beth at Night of Champions, and then in Beth's hometown, mind you. And then once Hell in a Cell came around, and then once Hell in a Cell pay-per-view came around, Kelly dropped the title to Beth Phoenix, and that's pretty much it. I don't remember them doing anything for Survivor Series. I don't remember anything about the 2011 Survivor Series. I don't know if they did anything there. I think maybe... No, wait. Actually, yeah, I do. I think Beth worked with Eve. I think Beth worked with Eve for the next 2 months at Vengeance and Survivor Series. Yeah, I do remember. I lied. And then at TLC, for some reason, Kelly Kelly got a title match against Beth Phoenix at TLC. And I'm going to tell you this, straight up, I don't remember this at all. I'm being straight up honest, I do not remember Kelly Kelly actually getting another shot at the title. I thought once she lost the title at Hell in a Cell, that was it. Because here's the thing, in 2011, there was no WWE Network. There was no WWE Network in 2011, so... And if I wanted to watch a pay-per-view, we had to order it. We had to order it through that WWE main on that Foxtel main event channel. It was on a main event channel on Foxtel. So yeah. Things are way better now than they were back then. So this could be why I don't remember Kelly Kelly fighting Beth for the title at TLC. Because either A, it was on the pre-show, or B, it was on the main show, and I just don't remember the match, or 3, I just didn't watch the event, which is probably the real answer. I probably didn't watch the event. Kelly Kelly then was at the Royal Rumble in a multi-women's tag match, and of course, her team lost. She was the one that got pinned by Beth Phoenix. So by this time, Kelly Kelly kind of started dropping down the card. After her title reign ended, she kind of started dropping down the card. She started wrestling on WWE Superstars, which was their early version of WWE Main Event. WWE Main Event didn't debut until 2013, I think. Main Event didn't debut until 2013, I think. So yeah, WWE Superstars was kind of like the early WWE Main Event before WWE Main Event became a thing. So she started working more on that show by 2012. But she did get a WrestleMania match. She teamed up with celebrity star Marina Menounos to take on Eve Torres and Beth Phoenix. Now a lot of people do give... Now, I don't like celebrities coming in and getting opportunities. But Marina Menounos to me is a bit different because at least she was actually willing to put her body on the line and take bumps. Not a lot of celebrities do that. Not a lot of celebrities are willing to put their bodies on the line and sell and take bumps. Look at Snooki. Let's take a look at Snooki, for example. Do people remember Snooki? Do people remember the one time Snooki competed at WrestleMania? Snooki competed at WrestleMania 27, and she competed right after The Undertaker versus Triple H at that event. And I think she teamed up with John Morrison and Trish Stratus to take on Lay Cool and Dolph Ziggler. I can't remember exactly, but I'm glad I don't want to remember. But the point is, Snooki didn't take any bumps. She just came in and got the winning blow. That's about it. She didn't put her body on the line. So Maria Menounos to me is a bit different. She was willing to put her body on the line and sell and take bumps. But she wasn't the one that got the pinfall victory, I don't think. I think it was Kelly Kelly that got the win for her team. So after that, Kelly Kelly kind of started winding down her career, and she'd have a few more matches. She would mostly wrestle on WWE Superstars. she mostly wrestled on WWE Superstars, while other people were getting focus on And then after that, she had her final match on Raw against Eve Torres, and she was able to win her final match. It's very, very rare. It's very, very rare that someone wins their final match. Normally, whenever someone's about to leave the company, they usually lose on their way out the door. So it was very, very weird to see someone like Kelly Kelly actually win her final match before she fully retired from in-ring competition. She's not fully retired. She's kind of semi-retired. She kind of like makes sporadical appearances here and there. She made as we all know, she's made appearance at the 2018 first ever Women's Royal Rumble. She competed in the 2020 Royal Rumble, and she also competed in the 2022 Royal Rumble, and she was also part of the Evolution Battle Royal when they did the first ever Women's Evolution pay-per-view. And Kelly Kelly has spoken about wanting to come back for another full-time run with the company, but I don't know. I don't really want to see that happen. Mainly, not because I don't get me wrong, I would love to see Kelly Kelly back. But, to me, she's never been the internet's favorite wrestler. No matter how good she was, fans just never accepted her. They were just like, she's just a blonde Barbie doll with no talent, no experience, or whatever. Even though she was very athletic. And she had a great even though she was very athletic and really good in the ring, fans just never accepted her because she's a diva. Though I would love to see her come back, but I don't really see her fitting in today's generation of women's wrestlers. Maybe just for a few one-off matches? Sure. For a few one-off matches? Sure. I could see it working there. But as a full-time run where she's on the show every week? Nah, I can't see her fitting in today's wrestling society. So, thank you all for watching this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up. Give me your thoughts down below. Who do you want to see me talk about next on the channel when it comes to this particular topic? And I will see you all in the next video.